for your Garnet. Number 7, Luke Mutz. Playing shortstop, number 18, Max Rockport. At second, number 14, Nate Jabara. At first, number 23, Matthew Silvestri. Catching for the Garnet, number 5, Andrew Olson. Playing DH, number 45, Michael Seppi. And on the mound is number 17, Edward Berry. The Garnet are coached by Matt McKipp.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Garnet Sports Network. I'm Matt Fine with some college baseball this afternoon. We are into conference play, Centennial style. The Swarthmore Garnet hosting the Washington College Shoremen. It is the conference opener for both. Swarthmore comes into this one 7-13 after a rough marathon loss to nationally ranked Arcadia. Washington College split last Saturday versus Widener, moving their record to 14-7. 10 teams in the Centennial, 4 make the postseason tournament, 1 gets an automatic bid to the regionals, and it all starts today at Clothier Field on the campus of Swarthmore. Let us take a look at the visitors. Batting in the top of the first, Cale McGill in center field, the freshman. Chris Baker, right fielder, a senior batting second. Moving into Danny Sheeler, a sophomore, bat third. Max Ruvo will clean up in left field. Joe Curtin, followed by Jack Kingman, will DH. Eric Rizchak, a freshman. C.J. Gilmer and Ryan Colbert, a catcher, will bat number 9. On the mound for Swarthmore, Edward Berry, 2.86 ERA, 1-2 on the year. This is his 6th appearance, all in a starting role. 22 innings pitched. He's given up 20 hits. 7 earned runs. He has struck out more than he's walked. 19 strikeouts compared to 13 walks. And we are underway with McGill, the center fielder, a freshman. The count goes even, 1 ball and 1 strike. McGill from Alco, New Jersey. Leads the team in many offensive categories. 84 at-bats coming into today. 33 hits. Both lead the team, 29 runs as well. That's a team lead. And overall, he's batting .393 on the season. The 2-1, batted foul. Pretty nice day for baseball. A little bit on the chilly side as we head into April. We're looking for some warmer weather, but the sun is out. It's Saturday. And we've got 18 innings in front of us, by the way. 2 9-inning games. So we'll pace ourselves this afternoon. And there is strike 3 looking as Barry blows one by the freshman, and that is out number 1. And we're well underway. A lot of seniors in the starting lineup for head coach Corey Beddick in his 5th season for the Shoremen. Beddick from Gettysburg College. This one's fouled back. Chris Baker is one of those seniors, the right fielder. No home runs on the year, but Baker can hit for power. 8 doubles, 6 triples. We'll get into that in a second. Batting .354 this season. The 6 triples is 1 shy of a school record for a single season. And again, we're April 2nd? So he's basically averaging about a triple every 3 to 4 games. Tops one. And 2 up and 2 down as Jabbar over to Silvestri for out number 2.
Number 10, Danny Sheeler.
This brings up Danny Sheeler, the first baseman, a sophomore. Sheeler leads the team a 4.05 clip. 23 RBIs as well. 30 hits and just 74 at bats. Ed Berry with the 1-1. The 2-1 right at the first baseman. And that is out number 3 with Silvestri picking up some leather there. 3 up, 3 down. We head to the bottom of the first, no score. Welcome back to Clothier Field. Matt Fine with you as we head to the bottom of the first in a doubleheader in the Centennial Conference. Take a look at the Swarthmore starting lineup offensively. Leading off with Kirk Terada-Herzer, followed by Luke Mutz. Austin Burgess, a left fielder, will bat third. Michael Seppi will designated hit at number 4. Matt Silvestri at number 5. Nate Jabbar, the second baseman, will bat 6th. Paul Cook in right field bat 7th. Andrew Olson, the catcher, in the 8th spot. And Max Rothwarg, the shortstop, will round out the 9. And they will face the lefty from just down the road, Mike Smith, a senior. His 5th year, a super senior at Washington College. Played his high school ball just a couple of miles down the road at Springfield High School. Smith, his 6th appearance this season. Started all 2-0 on the year. 21 innings pitched, giving up 14 hits, 6 earned runs. And the first one right back to him. 1-3 on the putout to retire the junior from Swarthmore. I'll start talking about Luke Mutz early in this at-bat because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Luke Mutz. 4.05 on the year, 32 hits in his 79 at-bats, leads the team in hits, runs with 23, tied for the team lead with 15 RBIs. He's got 40 total bases, and when he gets on base, he can run. 14 for 15 in stolen bases so far this year. As hits one to the left side and under the mitt of Gilmer and into left center field. So Gilmer needing to get down on that ball a little bit more to just scoot it under his mitt. Wasn't hit that hard. But a one-out base runner nonetheless. And they award Mutz a hit, so he is 1 for 1 today. I mentioned the fact that he can run the bases. We'll see how that works out with Austin Burgess stepping in. Defensively behind Smith, Joe Curtin at left. We just saw C.J. Gilmer at shortstop. Eric Ruzenschok at second base. Danny Sheeler at first. Max Ruvo getting the start in left field. Cale McGill in center. Chris Baker in right. Behind the plate, Ryan Colbert, number 15, the senior, again for Smith. Obviously, with the lefty Smith on the mound, a little bit more difficult. We'll see. We'll take a look at his moves and see what Mutz thinks about those. A quicker move over to first, of course. The Garnet loves to run. This team runs all over the place. 67 stolen bases so far this year, and when they run, they're successful. 67 and only 74 attempts. Basically, they run twice as much as their opponents do. And that is a walk. So after a single to left and a walk to Burgess, the Garnet now have a runner in scoring position. 2 on, 1 away. And this brings up Michael Seppi, the designated hitter. Another lefty. This one off the bat. That's unfortunate. It was about a foot higher than than Seppi, but he didn't bring his bat down in time. And you didn't hear the dole. You heard more of a clank than anything else, and that's when you know it's not the mitt, it is in fact the bat. So a wild strike one, and 0-1 to Seppi. I mentioned Mutz with 14 stolen bases in his 15 attempts. Well, Burgess is right behind with 13 stolen bases this season. So the two fastest guys, the two best base runners for Swarthmore, are on right now. And a 1-1. Fastball over for a called strike. Smith has 3 pitches. He'll throw in the low 80s with his fastball. That one's off speed. Hit to shallow right field, enough to move one runner. Oh, actually, I have to take that back. He was gone, and he came back, was Mutz. So he wanted to test the arm of Baker in right, and Baker won the battle there. So Mutz goes back to second base. So runners at first and second still, now with 2 away. This brings up Matt Silvestri, freshman first baseman. Silvestri had a heck of a game in a loss to Arcadia on Tuesday. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But he had 3 hits and 4 at-bats. First pitch swinging, pops one up into foul territory and plucked out of the air by Baker. That will do it for the Garnet here in the bottom of the first. They do pick up 1 hit. They leave 2, but we're scoreless after 1. Welcome back as we move to the top of the second inning on the Garnet Sports Network. Matt Fine along with you. 18 innings of baseball on a beautiful early spring afternoon at Clothier. We'll see numbers 4, 5, and 6 here in the top of the second for the Shoremen, Ruvo, Curtin, Kingman. Ruvo getting the start in left field. He's been battling injuries this year on and off, but he is ready to go, which is a real good moment for the Shoremen. Ruvo batting .289 on the year. Ruvo's got all sorts of experience for this team as a senior. Their fastball over for a called strike at the knees. Count goes 2 balls and 1 strike. A pitch in the dirt. So the count goes 3-1. Joe Curtin on deck. (3-1). Bounce to left side. Mutz is there in the dirt. Silvestri unable to handle it. And that will be error number 1 today. E5 puts a leadoff runner at first base. Defensively for Swarthmore, behind Barry, we have Mutz at third, as I mentioned. Rolf Warg at short. Nate Jabbar is the second baseman, the junior. A freshman at first, and Matt Silvestri. Left field, Burgess. Center field, Terada Herzer. Right field, Cook. And Barry facing Joe Curtin. Curtin batting .333 on the season. Flares one fairly deep to right field. Back and twisting and picking up the out is Paul Cook.
Number 5, Jack Kingman.
This brings up the designated hitter and Jack Kingman, another senior. The outfielders for the Garnet, they move all over the place. They're interchangeable in a lot of ways. Terada Herzer was playing left field in that game against Arcadia. Burgess has played left and right. Cook as well has played all over the outfield. But this, if you could pick a typical left, right, center, this is where they generally are with Burgess in left, Terada Herzer in center, and Cook in right. But again, you'll see them switch up depending on, a lot depends on the opposing team and where their tendencies are with regards to how they spray the ball. That's one of the reasons that against Arcadia they were all different. Arcadia has a heck of an offense, and they started moving their outfielders around to work on that. As that ball's bounced, and a nice play this time by Mutz as he short hops it and picks up the second out. 5-3 on the put out. Ruvo moves up to second. Two away, a runner in scoring position for Rizenchuk. The freshman second baseman. Batting .391 this season. Not too shabby for a freshman, right? 18 hits in his 46 at bats. Ruvo with a decent lead at second base. Comes the 1-1. Looked like a curveball, or a breaking ball. Didn't quite break inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. The 2-1 taken to the right side. This will fall. Coming home. We have a play at the plate, but the ball goes off the catcher, Olsen, and down to second base goes Rizenchuk. An RBI single for the freshman as Ruva rounds third and scores, and Washington College takes a 1-0 lead. That ball kind of flared out to right field. So the batter and the runner switch places. 1 run comes in, and the batter now stands at second base. That's C.J. Gilmer at the plate. Good piece of hitting by the freshman there, Rizenchuk. In the batting order, he is one of 2 freshmen. McGill, of course, as we mentioned, leading off. One-two to Gilmer as he smokes that, but foul to the left side. Gilmer hitting at a 205 clip this season. Off to a bit of a slow start. 4 doubles, though. The 0-2. Scooped up and across for out number 3. But 1 run does come across on the RBI single by Rizenchuk. We move to the bottom of the second inning. Washington College up 1-0. Bottom of the second, a Clothier. We'll go 6, 7, and 8. Nate Jabbar, Paul Cook, Andrew Olson. Facing Mike Smith, who gave up 1 hit in the bottom of the first. It's stranded 2. Jabbar batting .250 this season with 13 hits in his 52 at-bats. Has a couple of home runs. I mentioned that Swarthmore likes to run. Not a ton of power on this team, though. 10 home runs so far this year. Burgess leads the way with 3 home runs. Even though they lost on Tuesday to Arcadia in what turned out to be a fairly ugly game, in all honesty. It was a 19-10 final. Arcadia won. There were some fireworks on both sides. Arcadia hit 3 home runs. Swarthmore picked up 2. Cook had 1. Rothwark had 1 as well. So 5 home runs in that game. A 9-inning game that took a little bit more than 4 hours and actually ended with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th when they called it because of darkness. We were 1 strike away from ending the game, and then a batter ended up walking. They went to the next batter, and it just became too dark. As Jabbar flies out to center field, there's McGill with his first put out today. This brings up Paul Cook. Cook, one of the better offensive players so far this season for Coach Mad Midkiff in his 9th season as the head man here at Swarthmore. Cook batting .371 this season. Leads the team in doubles with 7. Also slugging percentage at .565. Not too shabby. Real nice crowd on hand. It's chilly, but the sun is getting warm, and it's April, so the sun's high in the sky, midday, and there are, obviously you're going to get a lot of Swarthmore fans, on campus, this wonderful facility at Clothier, but also for Washington College, there's a lot of local players on this team. Of course, Washington College, that one is Cook caught looking for a backwards K. That's the first strikeout so far this afternoon for Smith. This brings up Olson. But Washington College is on the eastern shore, the Delmarva Peninsula. So it's about, 2.5 hours away from Philadelphia, maybe 2 to 2.5 from Swarthmore, but a ton of local names, on that team from this area. Have to call out my two boys, and Kyle Avellino and Jonah Frankel. Avellino is a catcher, he's a freshman, and Jonah Frankel, the senior pitcher. Both went to Harriton High School, which is about 20 minutes from here, 25 minutes from here. As that ball is hit pretty hard to right field back, and making a nice catch is Baker. And that is out number 3. 3 up, 3 down here in the bottom of the second. We have played 2. Washington College up 1-0. We move to the top of the third. We'll go 9-1-2 in Ryan Colbert. We'll go back to McGill and Baker in a 1-0 game. At the end of the last inning, I was talking about Harriton High School. If you're wondering why I'm calling that out, because that's where my oldest son went to high school and played with both those guys, played with Jonah Frankel and Kyle Avellino. Go Rams. I won't talk too much about Harriton today, but I wanted to give that shout out to my alma mater, or to their alma mater. Colbert's senior batting .242 this season. A very busy day in the Centennial, as it's opening weekend for conference games. Everybody's playing conference ball this weekend. I'll give you an update as we move through the afternoon. I can tell you that McDaniel and Franklin and Marshall are playing each other. Dickinson is at Haverford. Gettysburg's at Muhlenberg. Of course, we have the Washington College matchup here at Swarthmore. Your Sinus is down in Baltimore taking on Johns Hopkins. All doubleheaders today. Many of the games already underway. 2-2 to Colbert. Goes up top, fishing, swing and a miss. And strikeout number 2 for Barry. The first one was looking, this one's swinging. And the guy that was looking is the gentleman who comes up right now, and Cale McGill, 0 for 1. McGill had one of those days in that doubleheader against Widener. Washington College won the first game. They actually lost the second game, but had some incredible offensive performances. That ball goes deep to left, off the wall. We have a play at second, sliding in, safe. Burgess did a great job of getting that ball in, but not in time to get McGill. And that's our first extra base hit this afternoon. So a 1-out base runner in scoring position. And here comes Baker. I mentioned McGill's numbers in game number 2. He was 4 for 6. 4 runs, 3 RBIs in a single game, in a losing effort. Baker first pitch swinging. Nice play by the first baseman. Silvestri picks up the out. So they'll trade a little bit. 3 unassisted for out number 2, but McGill does move down to third base. So another run 90 feet away, and Danny Sheeler steps in. McGill had 4 hits in that game. Not to be outdone, Sheeler had 5 hits in that game. 5 for 5. How many times in your life at any level will you go 5 for 5? You can go all the way back to dad pitch, coach pitch, bring out the machine, put it on the mound. 5 for 5, 3 runs, 3 RBIs. So McGill had 4 hits, Schiller had 5, and they lost, if you can believe it. That final score, by the way, was 14-13. Fastball just misses low to Sheeler. He grounded out his first time at bat on the right side. Good block by Olsen. A 3-0 count. I'll put down a little bit of money that Sheeler will be taking here. Try to get Max Ruvo up there, get the cleanup guy in. Actually, that was ball 4. I'm looking at the scoreboard. It was off by a ball. I apologize. So Sheeler goes down to first, and this does bring Max Ruvo up. So runners at first and third. Let's reset for a second. McGill at third, Sheeler at first. First pitch to Ruvo, who reached in his first at-bat in the second inning on an E5. Still 2 outs. Barry trying to get out of a jam. That pitch curves in there for a strike. The count goes even. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fastball over the outside part of the plate. He gets ahead. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Big pitch here. You have the open base at second. But the Shoreman can double the lead with that runner at third. This one right up the middle. And a 2-out RBI single for the senior in Ruvo as the freshman comes across. And a 2-0 lead for Washington College. One of the harder hit balls we've seen today, except for the double, of course. That ball was smoked right up the middle. Sheeler stands at second right now, Ruvo at first. Ruvo already a productive day, scored a run in the second, then picks up an RBI here in the third. Joe Curtin steps in. Number 13 takes a fastball for a strike. He flew out to right field in his first at bat. The 0-1. That one curves in for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Both runs so far today for Washington College have come with 2 outs. He with a single from Rizenchak and now a single from Ruvo. One in the second inning, one here in the third. And the 0-2. This one fouled. And we'll do it all over again. The 0-2. This one fouled right into the dirt. Curtin doing a nice job of protecting. That ball probably a little bit low and out of the zone. But on 0-2, that's what seniors do. They're experienced at the plate, bats one into the ground, doesn't want to take a chance, and we'll do it all over again. This one lifted into left field. This will score a second run in this inning. And another 2-out RBI single as Sheeler running on contact scores from second. Ruvo stops at second. Give Curtin his first hit of the day, an RBI, and a 3-0 lead for the Shoremen. Waited on that pitch real nice. After seeing some fastballs, got some off speed, sat back a little bit, threw some hands, and into left field it goes at the feet of Burgess. Jack Kingman stands in, grounded out to the third baseman in his first at bat. Whoa, Ruvo, by the way, at second base was about a third of the way down the third base on that. And then you saw Jabbar come in behind him. I'm not sure that Barry ever saw that, but he was a good 30 feet towards third base. McGill has crossed, Sheeler has crossed, a 3-0 score. That's a fastball in for a called strike. That's a good pitch at the knees. The one to Curtin hung up there a little bit too long. And he got hurt with the RBI single to left field. That last fastball you just saw right at the knees. Here's the 1-1. This one fouled back, and he's ahead again. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He's been a strike away from getting out of this inning a couple of times. Both runs coming with 2 outs. Our first crooked number here in the top of the third. Trying to get Kingman to go fishing there. The count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2s are wild, 2-2 and 2. This one bounced unassisted for out number 3, but some damage done here in the top of the third. 2 runs come across, 3 hits, A couple left. We move to the bottom of the third, 3-0 in favor of Washington College. We are back, bottom three. We'll go 9-1-2 here in the third. Rothwag with his first at-bat. Then we'll go back to Kirk Terada-Herzer and Luke Mutz. Rothwag batting .260 this season. And he takes a pitch on the front leg and a leadoff base runner. For a guy who likes to run the bases,
Now batting number 11, Kirk.
as does just about everybody on this team. So hit by pitch brings us back to the top of the order. Terada-Herzer grounded out to the pitcher in his first at bat, takes a fastball away. Some early scores from around the Centennial. McDaniel is leading Franklin and Marshall in the top of the third, 1-0. Dickinson also 1-0 over Haverford. That game in the second inning on the main line. Gettysburg visiting Muhlenberg, battle of the Bergs, although one spells it ERG, the other spells it URG. Still, the one with the URG is up 3-0. That's Gettysburg, by the way, in case you're challenged alphabetically. And then we got a 3-0 score here with Washington College over Swarthmore. So a couple of 1-0 games, a couple of 3-0 games in the Centennial, as number 11 fouls one away. The only game one not underway so far is your Ursinus at Johns Hopkins. That's a 1 o'clock start time. A lot of foul territory here at Clothier along both sides, left and right field. A full count to number 11. I was talking about the move that you expect from a senior left-hander in Mike Smith. He did have Rothwag leaning the wrong way for half a second. And there he goes, little hit and run. This will break up the double play, and it turns into a fielder's choice. So a timely hit and run.
Now batting number 7, Luke Mutz.
6-3 on the putout. And now with a runner in scoring position, Luke Mutz steps in. Mutz, a little bunt. Could be a tough play and no play. Sent one into the air just deep enough that it kind of caught some grass between Curtin and Smith. And Mutz is 2 for 2 on the day. And that moves a runner to third. For a second, it was almost like a glorified sacrifice bunt, but it had enough juice on it. It was about a 60-foot bunt and landed right in no man's land between Curtin and Smith. Gilmer came in a little bit. No one had a chance. First pitch to Burgess is a ball. Mutz at first now. Rothwarg at third. Burgess has a chance to get the Garnet on the board here in the bottom of the third, trailing 3-0. 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the visitors. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the home team. Burgess way ahead. At 3-0, we'll see if he takes here. My guess is he will. Try to load the bases. Taking all the way, and a fastball tails away. So the bases are now juiced up. This brings up Michael Seppi, the designated hitter. Flew out to right field in his first at bat. And we have a meeting on the mound. That's Coach Fiala out on the mound talking to his senior. Tom Fiala, a Washington College graduate from 2014. Well before Coach Beddick was in charge here. Not well before, but a couple of years before. Coach Beddick likes to hire his own. You have Fiala, the pitching coach, a Washington College graduate. Michael Festa, an assistant coach, a Washington College graduate. Dylan Niepart, graduated in 2021, a Washington College graduate. The 0-1 pitch. That one tight. Big moment here with Seppi up. Flew out to right field in his first at bat. And he takes a pitch low, fastball low, and he gets ahead of the count. 2 balls and 1 strike. You need a senior type at bat here from a senior with the bases loaded, 1 out. You need runs here down 3-0. Looks at a fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes to number 45. Silvestri on deck, Jabbar in the hole. And that is strike number 3 on the outside part of the plate. That's a tough at bat when you have a runner 90 feet away and less than 2 outs. Looking at strike number 3. Big strikeout for Smith. So now it's down to Mount Silvestri with 2 away, looking for some 2-out magic. Fastball just misses to the outside. Silvestri 0 for 1, popped up in the foul territory, really flew out in the foul territory down the right side. That's how it ended the first inning. He's going to try not to end the third the same way. Infield straight up. It's a good-looking fastball. You have Baker playing shallow and right. McGill and Ruvo playing fairly deep, actually, in center and left. The 2-1 takes. That was a good decision as the count goes 3 balls and 1 strike. So a 3-1 count here with the bases loaded. 1 more ball will force in a run. And that's exactly what happens as that ball goes a little bit wide of the plate. Silvestri picks up an RBI on the walk. Roughwire crosses home plate. Everybody moves up. So you have Mutz now at third. Burgess stands at second. Silvestri is now at first, and Nate Jabbar steps in. Jabbar flew out to center field in his first at bat. The walk made it a 3-1 ball game. Mike Smith does not waste any time, by the way. The second he gets the ball, he is dealing. Last time I saw a lefty deal as quickly as Mike Smith, we have to go back to the 80s and a lefty named Stephen Carlton. If you ever watched those games, those old games in the 70s and 80s, they flew. And that's what Smith's doing here as that ball is fouled back. A little bit of defense there. Jabbar just protecting until he finds a pitch he likes better. If Jabbar gets on, we'll see Paul Cook. This one lifted deep to center field. Back and off the wall. Everybody running on contact with 2 outs. That will be a bases clearing double. Give Jabbar 3 RBIs and a 4-run bottom of the third. As Swarthmore takes its first lead of the afternoon, 4-3. That ball was hit real hard, and it kind of got up there over the head of McGill, who had no chance. So Mutz scored from third. You had Burgess score from second. And again, Silvestri running on contact with 2 outs. And he was well past, he was between second and third base before that ball even hit the outfield fence. This brings up Paul Cook. One ball and 1 strike to Cook. Talk about a big swing with 2 outs. Nate Jabbar, the junior. Jabbar just pumped up his RBI total in the year from 7 to 10. His second double of the year. Cook waits on that one, but then skies it to the second baseman, and it drops. You could see for a second, Risenchak was under it, and at the very last second, kind of ranged to his right, as it looked like the wind continued to take that one towards the second base bag, and it just lipped off his mitt. And another run comes in. Jabbar, again, running on contact all the way from second. And give Cook a lot of credit there as well, as he was hustling and found his way all the way to second base on the E4, running on first pitch. And he's in the third base as well. This is the 9th batter of the inning for the Garnet. If Olsen gets on, we're coming all the way around to Roughwire, who started the inning and scored. That's Cook's 10th stolen base this season. 3 different players for Swarthmore with double-digit stolen bases. This one flared down the right side and foul. Another foul ball. These 5 runs have come on just 2 hits. Been a hit by pitch. Been a couple of walks. The lefty deals. Down the third base side. Real nice play by Curtin. And that is out number 3. But some damage done. A big crooked number for the home team. A 5 spot here in the bottom of the 3rd. We have played 3. It's now 5-3 in favor of Swarthmore.
Now batting number 4, Eric Rizuncho.
Welcome back. Top 4. We'll go 7, 8, and 9. Eric Rizenchuk steps in. Single to right field in his first at bat. Picked up an RBI to boot. For the first time today, Shorman playing from behind. As Coach Midkiff's team puts up 5 runs in the bottom of the 3rd. A 5-3 ball game. Washington College, team-wise, has a .315 batting average this season. One of the better numbers in the Centennial so far. You compare that to Swarthmore, to .291 clip. This one's bounced. Mutz takes momentum towards first, and that is out number 1. Seen that a couple of times today with Mutz
Now batting number 7, CJ.
cutting off a ball, heading towards a shortstop, and uses his momentum for an out. Here's number 7, C.J. Gilmer. He grounded out to the shortstop in his first at bat. This one fisted, and that's one of the easier outs you'll see today. So 2 quick up, 2 quick out.
Now batting number
As number 17 helps himself, that's Ed Berry picking up the unassisted out in your scorebook. And we go to number 9 here in Ryan Colbert. The senior catcher struck out in his first at bat. Looking at some of the offensive numbers from across the Centennial. I'm just looking at McDaniel right now as a team batting .364. An on-base percentage of .472. We'll see how that number fluctuates once they get into conference play. I'd be surprised if it stays that high. The 1-1. Up the middle, but right to Rothwarg, and that is out number 3. So after putting up a 5 spot in the bottom of the third, Swarthmore comes right back and puts down Washington College 1-2-3 here in the top of the fourth. We're still at 5-3.
Number 18, Max Rothberg.
Here's number 9, Max Rothwarg, a shortstop. We'll go 9-1-2 here in the fourth. Rothwarg started the big third. He got hit by a pitch right on the front leg. He ended up scoring the first run of the game for the Garnet. Swarthmore trying to shake off what was a really rough Tuesday against Arcadia. The Garnet scored 5 runs to lead off that game on Tuesday and actually led 7-1 after 4, but then the floodgates opened as Arcadia, which is one of the better offensive teams in the area, put up 4 runs in the 5th, 4 in the 6th, and 6 runs in the 7th to open that game up. As that ball is smoked past Gilmer and into left center field, rounding first, getting real aggressive, and over to first, and he is out. Rothwarg took too long of a turn or too much of a turn around first. He was about a third the way down the second, maybe even a little bit more. And McGill sends one in to Risenchuk and over to first. So Rothwarg with a single, but picked off between second and first, and that is out number 1. So instead of a leadoff base runner, we go to Terada Herzer with 1 out here, top of the order in the bottom of the fourth. So I believe 8-4-3 on the putout. That's the kind of play that will have coaches getting hair, gray hair on their head or losing hair altogether. And you got a couple of hot coaches on the left side. Midkiff really giving the home plate umpire an earful, as is Coach Brian Booth, the third base coach for for Swarthmore. The 2-2 popped up in the foul territory. Sheeler with plenty of room, and that is out number 2. Terada Herzer 0 for 3 today now. In steps Luke Mutz. Mutz having himself a day already, 2 for 2. Scored one of those runs in the third inning. He's so dangerous. He's fast. He hits from the left side. And you saw it in that last at bat in the third inning when I want to say he didn't lay down a bunt. He almost popped up a bunt. But it found grass to the side of the mound. You do have a lefty in Mike Smith, so when Smith pitches, he falls towards the third base side, but that bunt, even though it was kind of coming at him, it still had enough juice on it that it got past Smith, and Curtin had no chance of getting Mutz. And this time Mutz takes 4 balls and scampers down the first. So a 2-out base runner. Mutz has reached all 3 times today. Mutz started the day with an on-base percentage of .461, so that's going up. Speaking of an on-base percentage going up, same with Burgess. He's 0 for 0 today. Doesn't have an official at bat. He's walked twice. And one of those walks turned into a run in that 3rd inning, that 5-run spot. He was stranded at first after a walk. That was way back in the 1st inning. Smith making Sheeler work over there at first. In baseball terms, going over at first looks like he's got the yips a little bit as he keeps on sending one into the dirt. And they weren't fast pickoff plays over at first. I think he's just trying to tell Mutz that he knows he's there. Secondary from Mutz, the 2-1. This one hit hard, but right at Curtin. And that is out number 3. No runs, no hits, 1 left. We have played 4, still 5-3 in favor of the Garnet.
Now batting number 3, Cal Mobile.
We are back, moving into the top of the 5th on the Garnet Sports Network. Matt Fine along with you. 2 9-inning ball games. And we have a 5-3 score here after 4. With Swarthmore leading by 2. We'll see 1, 2, and 3. Cale McGill will lead things off for the Shoremen. We are 3rd time through the order now. McGill 1 for 2, doubled to left field and scored a run. This one in foul territory and will go out of play. One, inside out over to the second baseman. Jabara picks up the 4-3 putout and 1 away here in the top of the 5th.
Now batting number 21, Chris Baker.
Chris Baker steps in looking for his first hit this afternoon. Grounded out to the second baseman and also to the first baseman. 0 for 2. Fastball outside for a ball. Baker's been an absolute stud for Coach Beddick. In 2021, finished second in the voting for Conference Player of the Year. Kid's got power, speed. Of course, he hits from the left side. And I mentioned he's one triple away already from setting the single season record for Washington College. Takes a hack there. And there's all sorts of room down there on the right field side. The 2-1. This one to left field. He'll stay up long enough for Burgess to make an easy put out. And that is out number 2.
Now batting number 10, Danny Sheeler.
Here comes the 3-hole hitter, the first baseman, Danny Sheeler. A sophomore from Townsend, Maryland. Townsend, Maryland, Loyola Blakefield is the high school. 6'2". That one to center field and right at Terada Herzer. Another quick 3 up, 3 down in the 5th inning. We're halfway through game number 1. Swarthmore leading 5-3. Welcome back. We've got a new pitcher for Washington College. Mike Smith takes a seat. Anthony Sofran steps in. The junior from New Jersey will face 4, 5, and 6. Sofran's 7th appearance. He's got a 3.33 ERA. First pitch swinging. A slow grounder over to the right side. And Michael Seppi gets on.
Batting for Swarthmore, number 23, Matt Silvestri.
This brings in Matt Silvestri. Officially an E4 on that play, by the way, for Seppi. Silvestri 0 for 1, walked and scored in the third. Off he goes. As that ball hits the dirt on the throw from Colbert. It's another stolen base. Second stolen base so far today for Swarthmore. That's a good pitch. As it curves in there for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the 5-hole hitter, and Silvestri. Will see Nate Jabara up next. Good block by the senior number 15, Colbert. From Sicklerville, New Jersey, 5'10". 2-2. This one pretty deep to right field. Looks like enough to move the runner up as Baker picks up out number 1. But with that fly out to right, it now puts a runner at third with less than 2 outs. So quality at bat for Silvestri. And this brings Nate Jabara up, who's got the big hit so far today. A 3-run double in the third. He also flew out to center. He's taking hacks right off the bat. And we're real early in a 5-3 ball game, but already Coach Baddick bringing his infield in. Curtin, Gilmer, Risenchuk, and Sheeler all on the grass. Colbert does such a nice job behind the plate. Moves left to right really well, number 15. He's been battling some injuries. But he looks good today. The 1-1. I mentioned Coach Booth over at third, Josh Throckmorton over at first base. The two coaches for Coach Midkiff. Good fight there. We'll do it all over again. The line on Smith, by the way, faced 21 batters, 4 innings pitched, gave up 5 runs, 4 earned, 4 hits, walked 4, and struck out 1. The 1-2. So right now Smith on the hook for the loss, although we have a real long way to go. The 1-2. Bounce to the left side, forces the runner back to third. Nice play by Curtin.
Now batting number 1, Paul Cook.
So because the ball was hit right at Curtin, Seppi had to go back to third. So he still stands on third with 2 outs now for Paul Cook. Cook lays down a bunt. Real nice bunt. Doesn't do too much in terms of the runner at third because it wasn't bunted hard enough to really do anything with Seppi. So it does bring Cook's batting average up. But now it's first and third 2 outs instead of just third and 2 outs. Here comes number 5, Andrew Olson, as he gets his orders from the third base coach in Brian Booth. See if Midkiff wants to play some games with Cook at first. The idea of getting caught up in a possible pickle or something that gets that runner at third home. He does come off. Here comes the runner home. And a collision at home. And a run scored. That looked like a painful turn of events. The question is the runner out at second? They're calling the runner out at second. Cook is out, and I think, without knowing for sure, I'm going to guess here, which is always a little bit dangerous, but I think they're saying there was some sort of interference at second base as the umpire is kind of showing him his hip. Or if he got tagged out. But either way, the runner's out at second, so there's no play at home because that was out number 3. So the play at second, Cook is out, and the run will take that off the board. And no runs to speak of here in the bottom of the 5th. We'll take a break, reset. We've played 5-3 in favor of Swarthmore. Welcome back as we move to the top of the 6th. Try to wrap things up in the bottom of the 5th. Now, I don't have the benefit, obviously, of replay, so without that, I can tell you that Paul Cook stealing second was called out for some reason at second base. Coming home was Seppi. They did throw home. Seppi was safe, but of course, the out was called well before Seppi got home. Quite the collision, by the way, as Seppi took a shot to the head in that bang-bang play with Colbert. He would have been safe, but again, with the out called at second base on the steal attempt from Cook, the inning was over before any play at home could be registered. So no runs come across in the bottom of the 5th for Swarthmore, and they were pretty hot in between innings. We've got a long way to go. We have basically half of game number 1 still to play and all of game number 2, and they're already both sides getting a little bit heated with the umpire crew so far. But as calmer heads prevail, at least for now, we move to the top of the 6th. And for Washington College, we're going to see 22 in Max Ruvo, followed by Curtin and Kingman. Ruvo 1 for 2. He's reached twice. Reached on an error in the second and also singled in the third. We still have Barry on the mound. We've seen 2 pitchers so far today for Washington College, and Smith and now Sofran. But Barry, who has been the clear number 1 for this team so far this year, they'll ride him as long as they possibly can. And Ruvo goes down swinging for out number 1.
Now batting with 13, Joe Curtin.
In comes Curtin. 1 for 2, an RBI single to left field in the third. First pitch deep to center field. Terada Herzer there for out number 2.
Now batting number 5 is Jack Kingman.
Here comes Jack Kingman. Kingman's still looking for hit number 1. Fastball over for a called strike. Stands are full here at Clothier. A beautiful day. A little bit of a breeze, a little bit chillier maybe than we want, but we do have, I think for the first time this year, at least in the games that I've called, we got fans over the fence in left field, hanging out in front of their dorm. Baseball is the only on-campus athletic event this weekend. Almost all the other teams are on the road. That ball hit to right field, slipping, but finding his foot is Cook. And that's 10 straight up and 10 straight down for Barry. 1, 2, 3 here in the 6th. Move to the bottom of the 6th, still 5-3 in favor of the Garnet. Back with the bottom of the 6th inning. Matt Fine along with you on the Garnet Sports Network. Game 1 of 2 this afternoon. A couple of 9-inning affairs to open up the Centennial. Got ourselves a good one right now. A lot of action. And you can tell when it's conference play, the temperature here is much higher than what I've seen so far this year in some of the games that I've called for Swarthmore. Especially that Arcadia game earlier this week where it's just so cold. Late afternoon, now we're on a Saturday, sun's out, fans are out. Two teams that know each other really well. Of course, you have to remember, as Andrew Olson is stepping in a 2-0 count for his third at bat, you have to remember last year Swarthmore didn't have a season because of COVID. A couple of teams, Haverford, another one in the Centennial, decided not to play a competitive season last spring because of COVID. There still was a season. Washington College is one of the teams that did play. So these two teams have not seen each other, and they didn't see each other all in 2020 as well, as the season was shut down prior to any conference play thanks to the beginning of COVID. So these two teams haven't seen each other since 2019. And they're getting to know each other again real quick as the count goes full. This is the first conference game for Swarthmore pre-COVID, if you can believe it. It's been so long. This one right at the pitcher. And a nice strike over to first base. Sofran got his feet under him. You had to think for a second that was going to be a real tough play with Olson motoring down first, but 1-3 on the putout for out number 1. We'll see 8, 9, and 1, by the way, here in the 6th. This brings up Ruffward. Got hit by a pitch and scored in the 3rd. A base running error in the 4th, where he smoked a single, but then got caught with too wide of a turnaround first. He got caught off first trying to get back there on a nice throw from Rizenchuk. Last season, Washington College That ball hits him. That's scary. I look down for a second. Look what happens. I was going to give you Washington College's record last season. I'll get back to that in a second. That's a scary one. Second time today, Rothwarg has taken one. That one much scarier than the first. When he got hit in the third inning, he got hit on the leg. No big deal. This one a little bit up. So Smith plunks him in the third. Sofran plunks him in the sixth. And a one-out base runner. We go back to the top of the order. And a pickoff play at first. So it's second time today Rothwarg has made a base running error. I mentioned the one in the fourth when he rounded first too wide. Here, he gets picked off after getting hit by a pitch. So 2 outs now. I have to stop looking down at my scorebook. I did it twice with Rothwarg, and I missed something both times. We go back to the top of the order with Tirada Herzer now. Tirada Herzer 0 for 3. 2 balls and 1 strike. This one right back to the pitcher again. And that is out number 3. An interesting inning. Couple of putouts by the pitcher. 3 actually, when you think about the pickoff play. And that will do it for us after 6. Still 5-3 in favor of Swarthmore. We're back top 7 now. Getting towards the later innings of game number 1. 7, 8, and 9 stepping into the plate against Barry. This is Rizenchuk. 1 for 2. Barry has sat down 10 straight shoremen, dating all the way back to the 3rd inning. Not too often what you saw in the the bottom of the 5th, where Sofran picked up all 3 outs from the mound. There was a couple of 1-3 putouts on ground balls right to him, and then the pickoff play. Strike number 3 looking. Barry has gotten better as this game has gone along. This brings up C.J. Gilmer, 0 for 2 today. Barry right now in 6 1/3, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. He's given up to 4 hits. He has struck out 4. He's walked just 1. He's retired the last 11 shoremen. Gilmer grounded out to the shortstop in the second inning, and right back to the mound in the fourth. This one popped up over my head and out of play. Mentioning earlier that baseball is the only on-campus athletic event today. Softball, almost everybody's at Franklin and Marshall, by the way. Softball's at Franklin and Marshall. Both lacrosse teams are also at Franklin and Marshall. Men's and women's tennis at Franklin and Marshall. A big party over there, by the way. And then track is at Widener. That's the outlier in this equation. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jabbar over to his left a little bit. Big hole up the middle right now. That one's fouled straight back. You have Rothwar kind of cheating towards third. Jabbar cheating towards first. Which means anything up the middle, it's Barry or nothing. Outfield playing straight up. Not a ton of wind today. That's a foul ball. We've seen a couple of balls hit pretty hard, a couple off the wall, but nothing has left the park quite yet today. Saw 5 home runs on Tuesday, so ball not flying as much as it was on Tuesday. The 2-2. Check swing foul. Pitch just missing, possibly high. Got a good part of the plate. So we go full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. The 3-2. This one to right field, deep and over the head of Cook, all the way to the fence. And that will turn into a stand-up double for the number 8 hitter in C.J. Gilmer. Gilmer's first hit of the day. He's 1 for 3. It's probably the hardest hit ball we've seen so far today to right field. And that ends the streak of 11 straight putouts by Berry. The tying run comes to the plate here in the top of the 7th, and Colbert with 1 away. After Colbert, we'll go back to the top of the order where Mr. McGill is standing by, ready to take control. Fastball over with strike number 1. Colbert from Sicklerville. So he calls timeout. The 0-1. Shallow center field. Gerardo Herzer right there. Out number 2 as Gilmer has to stay put. Now to the top of the order we go for Cale McGill. McGill from Alco, New Jersey. 5'11" freshman. One for 3 today. Double to left field. Safe at second. The throw was there, but Rothwark had to do basically a 180 to try to get Gilmer. And Gilmer just got in before he was able to kind of swing his mitt backwards. I've already seen a pickoff play at first. Seen a couple of pickoff plays at first, but a traditional one from the pitcher, we've seen one. McGill takes strike number 1. The 0-1 popped up. Look at the center fielder for a second. Terada Herzer looked like he might not know where it was, but he does pick up out number 3. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Time to stretch here at Clothier. 5-3 in favor of the Garnet. We are back, bottom of the 7th. Anthony Sofran still in relief of Mike Smith. We've not seen a run since the bottom of the 3rd inning. 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Shoremen. 5 runs, 5 hits, 1 error for the Garnet. All 8 runs scored in innings 1, 2, and 3. Since then, a whole bunch of goose eggs, as we'll look at 2, 3, and 4 here in the bottom of the 7th. We'll start off with Luke Mutz. Mutz 4th at bat, having himself a day. 2 for 2, a couple of singles, also walked. He scored a run. Takes a pitch there. He's ahead of the count. 2 balls and no strikes. Mutz very rarely will swing at a bad ball. The 2-0 holds there, and he will be taking here, I guarantee you, as Coach Midkiff wants to get his best base-stealing runner on board with nobody out. Fastball right over for a called strike. The 3-1, this one hit up the middle, gloved nicely and over to first, but not in time. Rizenchuk did a pretty good job getting his feet under him, but just not enough on the throw for a very speedy Mutz. And that is an infield single. So Mutz, a 3-hit game number 1 already. This brings up Burgess. And keep your eye on the third base coach in booth, as we'll see if Mutz wants to take off here. Again, he leads the team in stolen bases. 14 steals in 15 attempts this year. And he's out at first. Another pickoff play at first. You've seen it a couple of times. We saw it last inning with Terada Hurst, or excuse me, with Rothwarg. And now we see it with Mutz. And Midkiff is going to lose his mind today. He's just been real unhappy with several different calls today. It was a quick throw over from Sofran. And you can just see it in the expression, the body language of Midkiff, just pleading with the umpires. Just unhappy call after call. Coach Booth behind everybody in a catcher's position. And there's no way they're going to overturn that call. It's really just Midkiff trying to settle a grievance, or at least get some stuff off his chest. But regardless, it is an out. So 1-3 on the put out is out number 1, and then the very next pitch to center field, and Burgess pops up, or flies out, I should say, to center field. So quickly, instead of a runner at first and nobody out, we now have nobody on and a couple of outs in the bottom of the 7th. In comes the 4-hitter, Michael Seppi. Seppi reached once today on an error in E4. Officially, he is 0 for 3. These innings have been going by pretty quickly. I'll try to update you on some Centennial scores in the top of the 8th. That one's fouled back. Only one time today has Swarthmore been put down in order 1, 2, 3. That came way back in the 2nd inning. Besides that, they've had base runners on every different inning so far today. I mention that because it could happen again here, depending on what Seppi does. I guess technically Mutz did get on, but we'll see if Sofran will pitch to the minimum in this inning. As 2 have come up, and 2 have gone down, with Mutz being picked off at first. The 3-2, lined but foul. The 3-2, inside out, down the left field line, and foul. The 3-2 once again. That pitch just misses low for a ball. So Seppi scampers down to first base. A 2-out walk. Combined, that's 5 walks this afternoon from the Washington College pitching staff. Matt Silvestri. Number 23, a couple of quality at-bats. Walked in the 3rd inning. Had a sacrifice fly in the 5th. Officially 0 for 2, but that put out in the 5th inning deep to right field did advance a runner. That was Seppi who advanced to 3rd, but was stranded there in the 5th. And now every time I throw over to first base, we hold our breath. 2 balls, no strikes to the righty, with 2 away and a runner at first in a 5-3 game. Zach Camp doing the job getting the balls today, by the way. The senior from Smyrna, Georgia, getting in his steps. The pitch breaks at just the last moment. It looked like it might catch Silvestri on the front hip. Still a ball. 3 balls and 1 strike. He's ahead of the count. Can pick and choose here. Runner going, and that is ball number 4. Couple of walks. Second time this game that Silvestri has been walked. In 4 batters so far this inning, Sofran's really only gotten 1. Remember, Mutz singled and was picked off, so that turned out to be out number 1, and then Burgess flew out to center field for out number 2, and then we have a couple of walks here. So Jabbar has a chance to do some damage with 2 outs. A 2-run lead for the Garnet, and they really could use some insurance here. Again, 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for Washington College. 5 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for Swarthmore. A lot of real estate in right center field. Anything over Rosenchuk's head at second base with 2 outs running on contact, you got to think Seppi's going to get in. The 1-1 breaks at just the right moment. One, two, right back to the mound. And that is out number 3. 1 hit, couple left, but no one crosses the plate. As we have played 7, we move to the 8th. It's still 5-3 in favor of Swarthmore.
Now batting number 21, Chris Baker.
We're back, top 8. The Shoremen down to their final 6 outs here in game number 1. They need a couple to tie it up. A 5-3 score. Numbers 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Chris Baker will start things off. The 2-hole hitter, 0 for 3 today. Edward Berry still in and has been in complete control of this one ever since the 3rd inning. There is some action in the Swarthmore bullpen. From my angle, it's actually impossible to see who it is. But you can imagine the 8th inning, they're warming people up. That one's popped right behind me and out of play. Can't see a number, but it looks like a right-handed pitcher up there. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. It's fooled in the dirt. Count goes even. Some updated scores from around the Centennial. Franklin and Marshall holding on to a 1-run lead over McDaniel in the top of the 7th, 3-2. Dickinson right now shutting out Haverford. Dickinson on the road. That scored 3-0 in the 6th, after 6, excuse me. Gettysburg 5-5 versus Muhlenberg. That game in the 6th. We have this game right here, a 5-3 game. And a base runner in Chris Baker. Your Sinus and Johns Hopkins, a 1 o'clock start, but no updated score there. It says the game has not started yet, so we'll have to wait on that one. So Baker at first now, as Sheeler steps in. First pitch swinging pretty deep to left field. Next to the track is Burgess for out number 1. It's 1 out. Still a runner at first base. Another first pitch swinging. Bobbled quickly, but over to second. Safe at second base. So Swarthmore unable to get it to Jabbar in time.
Now batting number 13, Joe Curtin.
And we have a stoppage here. It's Coach Bennett going over talking to his guy. That was Ruvo. And they're going to come in with a pinch runner for Ruvo. Number 11 coming in for Ruvo. We have one Ruvo for another Ruvo. It's Ben coming in for his brother Max. And Joe Curtin steps in with runners at first and second now. 1 out. Excuse me, just a runner at first. Nope, runner at first and second. I'm sorry. The runner at second base is directly behind the umpire. And for a second, I thought I might have missed something, but I did not. Still a couple of runners on. So we have Baker at second. Let me reset then. Baker at second. Ben Ruvo came in for his brother Max. He's at first. And Joe Curtin is the batter. Curtin 1 for 3. Runner goes from third. So Baker from second into third. And now runners at first and third. Still 1 out. Olsen looked down the first real quickly, looking at a possible double steal, but Ben stayed put. So still the tying run is at first base with 1 out, but now that fourth run just 90 feet away. That one's fouled back. Going back in time just for your score booking needs, that Max Ruvo ground ball to the left side that was officially ruled an E6. So we do have the single from Baker, but an E6 with Max Ruvo. Ben is real close to coming back full time, by the way. Has a bad hand. He can field, he can run, and they think he'll be ready to hit maybe within the next week. So both Ruvo brothers will be in the lineup soon, possibly. That one was knocked down nicely by Mutz, but nothing he could do with it. Even if he had come up with it cleanly, it would have ended up with an RBI single for Curtin. Baker scores.
Number 5, Jack Kingman.
Ben Ruvo now at second, Curtin at first after the infield hit. His second today. And Jack Kingman steps in, and it looks like we're going to have a pitching change here. We'll take a quick break with our pitching change reset. When we come back, we're now in the top of the 8th in a 5-4 ball game. We are back. A new pitcher, that's number 37, Jet Shu, who's in for Edward Berry. Shu his 6th appearance of the year, and he's in with a jam. Runners at first and second. First pitch popped up in foul territory, coming all the way around. A beautiful play by the second baseman. A runner will advance, but Swarthmore will take that trade any day of the week as Nate Jabbar ran a good 30 to 40 yards behind Silvestri in front of Cook to pick up that out. This now leaves 2 outs. The tying run is still 90 feet away for Rizenchuk. That's Ben Ruvo at third. Curtin stays at first. And a real big batter here. First pitch in the dirt. Rizenchuk 1 for 3. Singled in the 2nd inning. Grounded out in the 4th and struck out looking in the 7th. Berry officially 7 1/3 innings. He is responsible for some runners here, but as of right now, 3 earned runs. Gave up 7 hits, 1 walk, struck out 4. And if Shu can get this out right here, Berry in position for the win. 2 balls and 1 strike. The 2-1 outside for a ball. So 3 balls and 1 strike. The freshman in a good position right here. If he gets on, we'll see C.J. Gilmer. And that one misses for a ball. The bases are now loaded after a walk. C.J. Gilmer comes up. Shu getting back to some of his stats. His 6th appearance of the season. He's 2-0 with a 4.82 ERA. All 6 appearances this year in relief. He's trying to hold on, give Berry, who's pitched an excellent game, a chance at winning this one. But the bases are loaded for the 8-hitter in Gilmer. Gilmer 1 for 3, doubled in his last at bat as he looks at his strike number 1. Five to 4 your ball game. 2 outs here, top 8. Oh, 1 just misses. The count goes even at 1-1. The 1-1 in the dirt, nice block. That saves a run. Olsen earning his keep today. Big difference between just a ball and that would have been a wild pitch. That would have easily had scored Ruvo from third. The 2-1. Now Shu's in a jam here. 3 balls and 1 strike. Nowhere to put any of them. Bases are loaded. It's a 1-run game. A big pitch here. And that is strike number 2. So fastball over the outside part of the plate. That's the good news for Swarthmore. The bad news is with a 3-2 count and 2 outs, everybody's moving. Runners at first, second, and third moving on the pitch. Just foul and off the mid. Olsen wanted that one. He wanted to squeeze that one in. That would have been out number 3, but we'll do it all over again. Doesn't matter which side of the stand you are on, whether you're along the first base side with the visitors or the third base side with the home team. It's a big moment for both teams in this game. A 1-run game. The tying runs at third. Go-ahead runs at second. A 3-2 count, 2 outs. Another pitch to Gilmer. This one wide for a ball. And we have ourselves a tie ball game. In comes Ben Ruvo, who pinch ran for his brother Max. Curtin now stands at third. Rizenchuk stands at second. Gilmer is at first, and Ryan Colbert is at the plate. And looks like actually we're going to look at a pinch hitter. This is number 45.
Pinch hitting for Washington, number 45, Noah Eisman.
Noah Eisman steps in from Maryland, 6'3", 245. A freshman. When I was a freshman in college, I was 6'3", 245 too, by the way. Eisman bats from the left side. Batting .278 on the season. Got a chance to open up this game. Fouls the first one back. The 0-1. Hard ball past the diving first baseman in Silvestri into right field. 1 run comes in. 2 runs come in. And Washington College takes the lead on a 2 RBI single from the pinch hitter in Eisman. Both Curtin and Rizenchuk score on that one. All the way to third, Gilmer. So that's Coach Beddick pushing the right buttons at the right time. And we'll have another pitching change. Take another break as we change pitchers up again this inning. Now 7-5 in favor of Washington College. We are back in a whole new ball game. 4 runs here for Washington College in the top of the 8th. Now a 7-5 ball game for the visitors. And a new pitcher. This is number 10, Casey Jordan. Jordan, a righty, sophomore from New Hampshire. His 8th appearance this year, 3.52 ERA. And he's got the top of the order to deal with. This is Cale McGill. Sidewinder puts the first pitch in the dirt. Gilmer at third. With a pinch runner in at first for Iceman. Try to get you that number. The 1-0 misses wide. McGill does have 1 hit in 4 at-bats today. Doubled in the 3rd and scored. Fastball over for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. The 2-1. This one off the hands and foul. This moves the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. This 4th spot in the 8th. The first runs that have been scored by Washington College dating all the way back to the 3rd inning. In fact, these 4 runs are the first either team has scored since the 3rd inning. Bunch of donuts ever since. But now Washington College has put Swarthmore into a bit of a jam here. And they're not out of this jam either. 2 outs, 2 strikes, 2 balls. With that runner at third. And that is strike number 3. McGill goes down as Jordan gets the job done, but a lot of damage done here in the top of the 8th as 4 come across. Washington College back on top now, 7-5. We're back, bottom 8. This is Paul Cook, 7, 8, and 9. On the mound, a new pitcher, number 29. Excuse me, that's number 28. That's Alex Benzowitz, 6-foot senior from Warrenton, Pennsylvania. His 10th appearance. Cook check swings. Number 1 is a leadoff base runner for Swarthmore.
Now batting number 5, Andrew Olson.
So the tying run comes to the plate in the 7-5 ball game. Andrew Olson, the catcher, 0 for 3. Looks to bunt. Runner goes. And it looks like he was taken all the way. I think the bunt was almost a little bit of a decoy to get that runner down to second base. So Cook steals a base. Olson was able to pull back in time to pick up that ball. Shows bunt again and pulls back one more time. 2 balls and no strikes. And that was ahead of the count. We'll see if that changes the at-bat a little bit. Olson looking for hit number 1. He's 0 for 3 today. We have a new catcher in, by the way, Kyle Avellino. I mentioned him earlier, the Harriton product, freshman. Ben Ruvo is in center field. They moved Cale McGill to left field as Max Ruvo comes out. Count goes even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. One in the towards the gap in right center. Good throw from right field, but not in time as that ball gets by the third baseman, but backed up nicely by the pitcher in Benzowitz. So 1 out. Baker gets the out in right field. And a runner at third now. Cook stands there with 1 out. Rothwarg is here in the 9-hole before we go back to the top of the order. This one is fair down the line in right field. That will score a run. An RBI single for Rothwarg. And that's just what the doctor ordered for the number 9 hitter. He's had a tough day. He got hit by a pitch in the 3rd and scored. He overran first a little bit and was picked off in the 4th and then picked off again in the 6th. So he could use some good news, and he got it. An RBI single. His 2nd hit. And we go back to the top of the order in a 7-6 ball game. Down the second he goes. The throw down the second a little bit high as Avellino picks up a little bit too much air on that throw down the second base. And the tying run is now in scoring position. Gerardo Herzer due for a hit. He's 0 for 4. grounded out to the pitcher a couple of times, once to the shortstop as well. A bouncer to the left side and by the third baseman and into left field. A little bit of a collision, and I'm not quite sure. There has to be a stoppage of play for interference. And as a result, the run scores at home. So a heads-up play by Rothwarg, who's had his troubles today on the base path. What happened was he went into third. He got hit by Gilmer, and there was interference. As a result, he knew with the interference call that he was going to get that he was basically free to try whatever he wanted. He rounds third, comes home. He was out by a mile, but because of the interference, the umpires have to make a decision as to whether he would have scored on that play if it wasn't for the interference. So they're going to talk about that. Meanwhile, Tejada Herzer with the single on the throw moves up to second. So he picks up a hit, his first of the day. The question is, on that single, what the umpires have to decide is, would Rothwarg have scored? Definitely would have made it to third, but when he collided with the shortstop in the base path, Gilmer, that's when it became an interesting judgment-type play. And if you look at the body language from Beddick, I get the impression that he's going to lose this battle. And if he does, we have a tie ball game at 7-7. The scoreboard would be identical. Right now on the scoreboard, 7 runs for each team, 8 hits for each team, and 2 errors for each team. Meanwhile, Luke Mutz will step in, and he's had a heck of a game. It's worth mentioning Mutz right now is 3 for 3 with a walk, so he has reached all 4 times today. Benzowicz will throw down to Avellino and stay warm. This is a long discussion. At some point, the umpires have to say, we made our decision. You have to remember, we still have an entirely new ball game to play when this one ends. They're definitely giving Beddick the time to explain it, although the umpires are doing much more of the talking than the head coach for Washington College. Still don't see any way that they would overturn this play. And it looks like it's going to stay. Beddick's still talking with a runner now at second base. So the go-ahead run is at second. And the next question would be, I think Beddick's asking, does Tejada Herzer have to go back to first? And that's a big decision as well, because it puts a runner, the go-ahead run, in scoring position. And it looks like right now everybody is staying where they've been for the last 3 or 4 minutes. So Tejada Herzer gets an RBI single, advances to second on the throw. Rothwarg scores. 2 runs have come in. Cook came in. Rothwarg came in. We have a 7-7 ball game, and after all that, we're going to have a pitching change. Or at least a discussion. Let's see if he gives up the ball. He does. Benzowicz gives up the ball. We do have a new pitcher coming in, an entirely new ball game with 2 runs here in the bottom of the 8th. We'll take a break. When we come back, more action from Clothier in a 7-7 ball game. Welcome back. A new pitcher here, Clothier. Matt Fine along with you on the Garnet Sports Network. We've got a lot of tension here at the field in a 7-7 ball game. This is Alex Martin, a freshman from Yardley, a Pennsbury High School graduate. And before he even throws a pitch, he gives up an intentional walk as Mutz, who has reached all 4 times today, goes down the first intentionally. There was the open base with Tarada Herzer at second. And the Shoremen will take their chances with Austin Burgess. Burgess 1 for 3 with a walk. The go-ahead run at second. For Martin, this is appearance number 7. He did start one game, but mainly comes in relief. A couple of saves on the year. 1.93 ERA. Fastball inside for a ball. And he goes 2 balls, no strikes to Burgess. Little chin music. This is pitcher number 4. Smith started. Sofran came in relief. Ben Zawitz after that, and now Martin. The 3-0 taking all the way. And takes a fastball over for a called strike, so the count goes 3 balls and 1 strike. Still an advantage for Burgess. After Burgess, we'll see number 45 in Seppi. That pitch low for a ball, and the bases, they're now juiced. Down the third goes Tarada Herzer. Mutz stands at second base, and Burgess, after back-to-back walks, is now at first. Of course, the first of those 2 walks was intentional. Seppi has reached a couple times today. Officially 0 for 3 Seppi, though. Reached on the error and also walked. This one off the hands and picked up for out number 2. That's a real big out, as Gilmer is right there for an easy put out. That's a huge out number 2. This puts the game right now, at least to this point, in the hands of Matt Silvestri. Freshman is officially 0 for 2, has walked a couple times. He has a chance to be a hero here. That's over for a called strike. Again, identical scoreboards for both teams. 7 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for both teams, with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Good block by Avellino. That evens up the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Infield playing straight up, as you might imagine. This one up the middle, and it'll bring in a run. 1 comes across. The throw home is up the line. A 2 RBI single in the bottom of the 8th for Silvestri. And Swarthmore takes back the lead. 9-7 is your score. They took a punch in the top of the 8th, gave up 4 runs in the top of the 8th. They come right back and punch right back with 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th. And we have a pinch runner coming in, but give Silvestri the big hit as Tarada Herzer and Mutz both come in. All the way to third base is Burgess. This brings up number 14, Nate Jabara. 9-7. Runners at first and third. Another nice block from Avellino behind home plate. A real quiet game since the third inning until the eighth. 8 runs combined here from both teams in the 8th inning. And we're not done quite yet. Jabbar is the 9th batter to come to the plate here in the 8th. Runner goes down the second. A double steal. They did cut off the throw down the second base, and that allows Burgess to come all the way home. That is Midkiff playing a little small ball. This team loves to run, and it shows here with a couple of stolen bases. So Burgess comes in. He is run number 10. Jabbar with a 3-0 count, so he's going to be taking here likely all the way. That pitch high. So 4 pitches to Jabara. A 4-pitch walk. Number 14 goes down the first base. We've batted all the way around. We're back to where it started. Cook started this inning with a single and scored. And looks like we got another pitching change. So a 5 spot here in the bottom of the 8th, and another pitcher coming in. A 3-run lead for Swarthmore, 10-7. We'll take another break. Coming right back with more on the Garnet Sports Network. The new pitcher in for Washington College is Ethan Osgood, number 16 from New Jersey. Runners at first and second, still 2 outs. A 10-7 ball game, a 5 spot here in the bottom of the 8th for Swarthmore as they come all the way back after they were put in a hole with a 4 spot by the Shoremen in the top of the 8th. So they turned a 2-run deficit into a 3-run lead in this inning. This is number 1 at the plate, Paul Cook, his 5th at bat. Looks like they called a balk. He did twist back to second. Guess the question is, did he stop his motion? Whatever the reason, a couple of runners move up. We have Evan Johnson, who's pinch running now, stands at third. Jabara at second. And a 0-1 count to Cook. Osgood on the year, his 6th appearance, all in relief. 8 1/3 coming in. Giving up 8 hits, 3 earned runs. Oh, 2, this one off Avellino, and it'll bring in another run on the wild pitch. Very little he could do with that one. That ball bounced in a couple of feet in front of the plate. Big insurance runs coming in. That's a 6th spot here in the bottom of the 8th. 11-7 now in favor of Swarthmore. Swarthmore scored only twice in this game. They scored 5, though, in the 3rd, 6 here in the 8th. So when they've scored, they've made it count. And that will do it here in the bottom of the 8th as Cook goes down swinging. But a huge inning for the Garnet. A 6th spot, 11-7. Washington College down to its final 3 outs here in the top of the 9th. Coming back. We're back, top of the 9th. A new pitcher, number 40, Rowan Cherukuri. 6'4", 195 from Virginia.
Now batting for Washington, number 21, Chris Baker.
His 6th appearance. 11.37 ERA. He's got 4 runs to play with here. 11-7, top 9. Batting right now, this is number 21. We'll see 2, 3, and 4. This is Baker, 1 for 4 today. And the Shoremen need base runners here on a 2-0 count. got the part of the order that they want here in the top of the ninth, but they're 3 outs away. That's over for a called strike. This one right into left field. And Burgess is there for out number 1. That's a big first out. Off the bat, that'll take the breath right out of you. Some quick scores as Sheeler steps in. It's tight across the board in the Centennial. It's great. This conference is wonderful. McDaniel and Franklin and Marshall, bottom of the ninth, it's 3-3. Dickinson in the bottom of the ninth over Haverford, 3-1. Gettysburg is up 1 on Muhlenberg. That's in the top of the ninth, 6-5. And then we have this game here, 11-7. And while this game has felt tight the entire way, and it really has been tight most of the way, right now this 4-run lead is the biggest lead you'll see in the conference between two teams. The 0-1 to Sheeler just misses. Count goes 1 ball and 1 strike. Sheeler looking for hit number 1. Did walk and score in the third. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2 into left center field. This will drop and head to the wall. Up against the fence. And a stand-up double for the number 3 hitter. And in comes number 8.
For Washington, number 8, Brandon Hoffman.
This is Brandon Hoffman, a senior from Bear, Delaware. Max Ruvo started in this spot, and then Ben came in. Ben Ruvo, his brother, came in to pinch a run. Ben's not ready to hit. His hand is not good enough to hit right now, so that forces another pinch hitter, and that's why we bring Hoffman in. The 1-2. Excuse me, first pitch. I was looking at the scoreboard. That's actually no balls and 1 strike. The 0-1. One ball and 2 strikes. Jarrett Curry dealing. Pitch just missing, and he is behind in the count. 3 balls and 1 strike. Swarthmore with 1 goal right now, just to throw strikes, get outs. I mentioned the crowd here. Got like standing room down the third base side. There's that little walkway between the stands and the dugout, and it is filled with fans right now. This one up the middle. And the runner will be held at third, Sheeler. Hoffman now stands at first with the single. And Joe Curtin stands in. Still 1 out. The tying run now on deck. Curtin takes a first pitch for a strike. The 0-1. This one lifted to left center field. Caught nicely by Burgess for out number 2. That's a good trade for Swarthmore. They do give up the run as Sheeler crosses home plate. That makes it 11-8, but that is out number 2.
Kingman.
In steps number 5, Jack Kingman. Still the most dangerous person right now for Washington College is the man on deck. The tying run is on deck. One runner at first with Kingman up. Curry trying to shut this one down and give Swarthmore a 1-0 record in the Centennial. Bouncer over to the left side, and that will do it. A big win for Swarthmore College coming back after giving up 4 runs in the top of the 8th. They answer with 6 in the bottom of the 8th. And wraps up game number 1, a win 11-8. 8 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors for the visitors in the loss. 11 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors for the home team. Swarthmore moving to 1-0 in the Centennial. Washington College falling to 0-1. The big bat for Swarthmore was Luke Mutz, 3 for 3 on the day. Rolf Warwick picked up a couple of hits as well. We will step away for a while because we're only halfway there. A doubleheader Saturday here at Clothier. Go take a break, grab something to eat, come back. We got game 2 coming your way in about 20 minutes or so. Until then, I'm Matt Fine on the Garnet Sports Network. Hope to see you back here for game 2 in a little bit. Take care, everybody.